What's up, everybody? Good Saturday morning. Hope you're doing well so far. Got some college football in front of us today. Hope you guys are ready for it. And this is normally the part of the week where I start talking about the Seahawks pregame. The Seahawks will have a game in the next 24 to 48 hours, and I usually come on about this time every week to talk about it, but no game this week. So instead, let's do another pregame. Let's do some Washington Huskies pregame because the Huskies have a game tonight. And the game, honestly, a little bit of a footnote. Like, we're playing a game, and the game is barely worth talking about. So let's just get it out of the way right here, right now. These Colorado Buffaloes are one inept NCAA team. They don't really do anything well. You look at their schedule so far, they've mostly been blasted in every game they've played. They have one win, 20-13 over California, I think it was. Other than that, they get killed by everybody. And when I say everybody, I include teams like Air Force. So it's not just that they're getting blown out by teams like USC and UCLA. It's not even that they're getting blown out by teams like Arizona. Mediocre to slightly below mediocre teams. No. They're getting plastered by Air Force. They've got two quarterbacks that have played throughout most of the year that have combined for right about 50% completion. They have more interceptions than passing touchdowns on the year. They average about 180 yards passing and 110 yards running. So that means they average less than 300 yards a game, one of the lowest totals in the country. They average less than 16 points scored per game. Their defense is right near the bottom of the country as well. It is a team that would probably struggle against teams like Eastern Washington. If they got to play those teams early in the year the way we do, it would probably turn into a barn burner and honestly flip a coin on whether or not Colorado makes it out with the dub. This year, they may not. There's just nothing to say about them. They don't run the ball effectively. They don't throw the ball effectively. They've got one guy on that defense that gets a little bit of pass rush going, but other than that, nobody really can get after the quarterback. They got this one cornerback who's a little bit of a playmaker, made some pretty good plays on the ball this year, it looks like, but there's really not much else to say. Washington should win this game by 4 scores. Washington should run away with this one without an issue. That's what I'm expecting to see tonight when I tune in. I will still be streaming it. Because it's what's on TV, and we got to see how this plays out, right? Because, look, I have no doubt we're going to win this game. Colorado is terrible. We're playing at home. There's really nothing to say about that. If we lose this game, that is probably worse than what Montana did to us last year. But you want to see how the team responds to picking off Oregon last week. You want to see how the team responds to now getting national attention. How do they respond to making a dark horse, admittedly unlikely, but nevertheless existing attempt at a Pac-12 championship game appearance? Like, how is the team going to respond? Are they going to hit the ground running, go and score touchdowns on their first 3 possessions, force a turnover on defense in the first quarter, just put the game away by late second, maybe early third? How are they going to respond to this moment where, for the first time, I know they've been ranked before. I know they had that really nice start. I know they beat up on Michigan State, and that got them some credit. But I think the national profile of this team right now is up, higher than it's been in quite some time. And it might be too little too late for things like winning the conference, but this is still a big moment for this squad because we haven't had success like this lately. We had an okay year in the COVID year, but who cares? We played 4 games. And for the most part, we haven't been in the national conversation in recent years. But where we are right now, it's pretty close. I think there are people out there who would say if only we could have that stupid Arizona State game back, we might actually be talking about higher aspirations. But I want to see how the team responds to that on both sides of the ball. That's the only thing that can be said about this game. Colorado's not going to provide very much resistance. They are a bad team. They're a terrible team. I was trying to figure out something they did well, looking at it earlier today, and not you kind of can't. So all that's left is the emotional and psychological battle in our players' own heads. They're clearly ready to be a team that can blow out a team like Colorado by 50 plus points, but are they going to be that team on Saturday? So that's the main thing to tune in for. You tune in because you only play 13, 14 games at most in a college football season, and this is one of those games. You tune in because it'll be fun to see your team run up the score up by 50 points in the third quarter. But you just want to see how the boys respond more than anything. So as far as the game goes, that's certainly going to be intriguing how the team responds to the huge win last week. I am excited to see that part. But there is a little... It's not an elephant in the room yet, but it's worth addressing. Is this season salvageable for the Huskies in terms of competing for the conference? Because if you look at the Huskies this year, it was all there for them. They just couldn't handle Arizona State, even with the loss to UCLA, which, hey, UCLA is a great team. They played better than us. They're probably a better team than us. They deserve to beat us. That's how this is supposed to work most of the time. So how are we going to be able to atone or make up for or undo that Arizona State loss and maybe get involved in the Pac-12 title game? Because, this year they're doing it top two teams. There's no North and no South. It's just the top two teams, which I actually think plays to our disadvantage. I believe that if they did it North versus South, we would probably win the North. But as you look at it, remembering that they use conference record, unfortunately, there's no catching USC, really. I don't see that. We're a game and a half back of USC. So it's just that second place spot. Basically, the only way it happens, just to address this real quick because people are talking about it, apparently Utah needs to lose their last two games. Utah needs to lose their last two games, and they play Colorado, apparently, coming up. So, very unlikely. I can't imagine that happening. But we need Utah to lose two games because they have a very favorable tiebreaker situation over us because we lost to Arizona State, a team that is currently 3-7 and 2-5 in the conference. That kills our ability to win tiebreakers. So, yeah, if you were thinking about the Huskies making a play at the Pac-12 title, you are big time Utah haters for the rest of this season. And then you've got to get past UCLA, who owns the head-to-head against you, so you're going to need UCLA to lose at some point. Obviously, you need to win out. If the Ducks win out, it's okay because you have the tiebreaker, but it's a little bit of a mess. So I had to spend a minute or two talking about that, but now it's good. It's over. It's unlikely to happen. It's out of our hands now. All we can do is hope things break the right way in the other games. But as for this game, I'm going to be streaming it, I'm going to be watching it, and I'm going to expect the team to handle their business against a very, very bad team. That's all that can be said about one like this. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Going to be live tonight around 6 o'clock, and hope we get what we wanted.